We're delighted to have as our commencement speaker today Colonel Anthony M. LaSure. Colonel LaSure is the maintenance group commander of the 177th Fighter Wing, New Jersey Air National Guard. In response to the terrorist attacks on September the 11th, 2001, he served in Operation Noble Eagle, flying a fighter plane to patrol and protect the Northeast United States. The recipient of numerous medals and decorations, Colonel LaSure earned a Bachelor's of Science in Middle East Area Studies with a minor in Arabic from the United States Air Force Academy. And now I am very pleased to welcome Colonel LaSure.
First, I'd like to congratulate the graduates. And being the father of a college student, I'd really like to congratulate the parents for persevering despite frustration. In the fighter world, we live by one credo: speed is life. So I promise to be swift and to the point. To Dr. Stockton, distinguished president of this fine university, Dr. Carr, who's not here today but was instrumental in putting this program together, and his stand-in provost, Dr. Colin, to Dr. Hoover, former chair of the Board of Trustees, and to all the distinguished members of the faculty, to the honorees for this occasion, Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Mayfield, Tuskegee Airmen, Technical Sergeant George Watson Sr., Tuskegee Airmen, Mr. Mark Kemp, president of the Hannibal M. Killer Cox chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen, to the family members and friends of this distinguished graduating class. It is indeed a great privilege for me to be afforded this opportunity to share with you on such a historic and purpose-filled occasion. I bring you greetings from the officers and enlisted men and women of the 177th Fighter Wing, whom I serve with honor and distinction. I remember some years ago that my dad told me that his father, my grandfather, got up early one morning and took him downtown Newark because the President of the United States was coming to town. My dad told me that when the President's limousine reached the City Hall, a large crowd rushed out into the street in front of them and they couldn't see anything. At the last moment, my grandfather lifted up my dad and sat him on his shoulders so that he could see the President. My grandfather didn't get to see the President, but he made a way for my dad to see him. In like manner, I am standing on the shoulders of Lieutenant Colonel Mayfield and all the other Tuskegee Airmen who have laid the foundation and made a way for me and others to fly, fight, and win. We all stand on the shoulders of those who have paved the way for our own successes. Just as the recent election of Barack Obama to the presidency will pave the way for even greater participation among African Americans in political life, so it was true that the Tuskegee Airmen paved the way for me. Despite racial segregation within the United States military, a group of brave young African American men enlisted to train as pilots at a segregated airfield in Tuskegee, Alabama during the 1940s. Although the United States military assigned African American soldiers to menial, non-combat roles during the early phases of World War II, from 1941 to 1936, 994 African American pilots graduated from Tuskegee Army Airfield, receiving commissions and pilot wings. Half of these men fought for the United States in overseas theaters, demonstrating outstanding skills and patriotism. Back home, the other half of these airmen were stationed at various bases around our own nation, where they fought two wars, World War II and the war against racial discrimination. Nearly 1,000 highly trained, highly educated, highly committed Tuskegee Airmen were called upon to serve their nation, even as their fellow Americans refused to acknowledge and respect their service because the social vision of mainstream America was unwilling to recognize that the outstanding capabilities, dedication, and willingness of these African Americans was equal, if not superior, to their fellow soldiers. Undeterred by the humiliation and outrage from racism that they endured, the Tuskegee Airmen demonstrated courage and commitment that challenged the color barrier of their time in history. The Tuskegee Airmen comprised the 99th Fighter Squadron, facing combat in North Africa, Sicily, and Italy from April 1943 until July 1944, when they transferred to the 332nd Fighter Group, a part of the 15th Air Force. During that time, they accomplished the following combat record. The Tuskegee Airmen completed over 15,000 combat sorties. They destroyed 111 German airplanes in the air, another 150 on the ground. Their planes also destroyed another 950 rail cars, trucks, and other motor vehicles. Lieutenant Pearson sunk a destroyer by P-47 machine gun fire. 66 Tuskegee pilots were killed in action or in accidents. 32 pilots were downed and captured as prisoners of war. But in spite of these losses, the Airmen maintained a nearly perfect record of not losing a U.S. bomber, a very unique achievement. Among them, the Airmen earned 150 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 744 Air Medals, 8 Purple Hearts, and 14 Bronze Stars. In recent years, many scholars and writers have paid tribute to the greatest generation of American heroes who lived, served, and died during this period of our history. This generation was a more diverse and comprehensive group of brave Americans than has been depicted. So, what does all this mean to us today? What can you get out of this? What can we learn from the Tuskegee Airmen? First, their experience paved a pathway to my own career. In a very real sense, they made possible what I have been able to do for my country. When I look back to that day on September 11, 2001, when my fighter squadron scrambled to protect the Northeast Corridor, which includes the cities of Washington, D.C., New York City, and Philadelphia, we carried the spirit of the Tuskegee Airmen with us. The spirit of dedication and call to duty flew with us that day. Second, although they were ignored at best and scorned at worst by their contemporaries, their achievements contributed to the end of segregation in the United States military, and eventually to where we stand today, striving to eliminate racial discrimination from every dark corner where it lurks stubbornly in denial of universal human rights. Last, whether we are facing new threats to security of our great nation, or we are wondering how we will be able to maintain economic stability in the turbulent days and years that lie ahead of us, it is imperative that we recognize the talents and abilities of all men and women whose courage and commitment inspire them and us to overcome adversity. Graduates, remember these basic truths, and then I'll sit down. Courage and commitment have no color. Respect and responsibility have no race. Effort and excellence have no ethnicity. We are all, each and every one of us, proud to be part of today's ceremony, honoring all the Tuskegee Airmen on whose courageous and broad shoulders we all stand. Their courage, determination, and relentless commitment may not have been honored in their own time of service, but their contributions resonate with us here today. Graduates, look to your future and remember the lessons of the Tuskegee Airmen today and always. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Colonel LaSure. Dr. Hoover, it is my distinct pleasure to grant this special acknowledgement in recognition of Colonel LaSure's valor in protecting and serving our country. The award reads, the Board of Trustees and President Herman J. Sodkamp, Jr. present the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey Distinguished Service Award to Colonel Anthony M. LaSure, Maintenance Group Commander, 177th Fighter Wing, New Jersey Air National Guard, in recognition of Colonel LaSure's exemplary leadership and significant contributions to the United States of America, the state of New Jersey, and to the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey. Thank you again, Colonel LaSure. The work you have accomplished throughout your career is truly commendable. We are honored to present you the award today.